In this episode, let's take a closer look at the Audio-Technica 4053b, which I bought for use as an indoor dialogue mic. And it does have some advantages over a traditional shotgun mic, which really isn't designed for indoor use. Check this out. My workhorse mic for indoor dialogue, to be honest, up until this point, whether indoor or outdoor, has been the RODE NTG-2. It's a great little shotgun mic. It's reasonably priced at $270 US, and it does a pretty good job, and been very happy with it. However, there are times when I'm working indoors trying to capture dialogue, and the room is very poor from an audio standpoint. Lots of echo, lots of other issues. And those are cases where a shotgun mic isn't really designed to shine. So again, a shotgun really is designed mainly for outdoor use. I think you can very realistically, as indie filmmakers and videographers, we can get away with it indoors in a lot of circumstances. Typically, a lot of my work is going to be doing corporate headshots and interviews. And in those cases, I really was pretty much ready to upgrade to something that was a little bit more effective in those circumstances. So let's take a closer look. Now, as we look at the mic here, a couple of things in relation to the RODE NTG-2. It is definitely a smaller mic. Does that make a practical difference? Not really. I haven't, it's not a huge advantage. They weigh about the same. Yes, the Audio-Technica is shorter, but again, this is really not a review suggesting that the Audio-Technica is a better mic than the RODE NTG-2. It's just a different mic for different purposes. So don't walk away with the wrong impression here. Just like any microphone, if you want to get the best sound out of it with a nice, rich low end without capturing too much of the ambient noise, you really have to get the mic up close to your talent. And by close, I mean really within about 2 feet. I was able to use this recently on a corporate shoot, again, for just sort of a talking head shot. In this case, there were some significant challenges. This particular office has white noise generators everywhere. And so not only are you contending with the air conditioning system, but you're also, and any sort of ambient noise, people walking by, doors opening and closing. We also had the issue of these white noise generators, which I don't know a way to get past. No one knew if there were on and off switches anywhere. We couldn't find any, so we just had to go with it. And I have shot this same talent, in fact, in this same exact circumstance using the RODE NTG-2. And I can say, while I can't show you that video also, I can say that the Audio-Technica did a slightly better job at rejecting some of the ambient noise. So not night and day, it's not a magical mic. You can still hear some of the ambient noise from the white noise generators and from the HVAC system, but it was a little bit better at isolating, and really happy with its overall performance.
Depending upon the product, we either follow the V model process of design, build, test, and deploy, or the agile, iterative approach. All testing is conducted in a controlled environment, maintained by the configuration management team that mimics production architecture. We use a variety of third-party tools during the testing phase to assist with the quality and delivery of our testing process.
One thing that's kind of unique about this mic is that it does have a replaceable capsule design. That is to say, you can take off the Hypercardioid capsule and you can replace it with either a cardioid or an omnidirectional capsule. Now, by looking, I haven't used those. I've only used the Hypercardioid capsule, but looking at the frequency response patterns, I don't know if I would find those super helpful. I certainly have other microphones that have cardioid pickup patterns, and these don't really look that appealing to me in terms of the frequency response curves that I saw from Audio-Technica itself. So is it useful? I'm going to guess if you only want to have one mic and you want to have some flexibility, you can purchase those other capsules. However, the capsules are fairly expensive. In fact, it's probably the majority of the cost of the mic overall. Speaking of cost, this is not a cheap mic. So if you are on a very tight budget, this one probably won't fit your needs right away, at least. It does come in at about $600 US. Price varies some. I've seen it lower. I've seen it as low as $550 US. You just have to kind of watch it on Amazon or other places, and I've got links down below if you are interested. What we have here, of course, is that the Audio-Technica AT4053b comes in this convenient, though, and not the classiest piece of box I've ever had, but it's kind of, it's got this, it's hard material inside of some sort, and then it's sort of a vinyl covered and padded type of device. And then inside we have some really high density foam. And of course here we have the mic, we have a foam windscreen, and we have the mic stand clip. So pretty much what you would expect to find in a mic of this caliber and in this price range. Showing you the mic itself. Just like, again, any mic in this price range, very nice fit and finish, brass body that's got this black finish to it, like, again, most professional mics. It does require 48 volts phantom power, so you do need to power that with whatever preamp you're plugging into, and most field recorders will do that. The only problem, of course, that it doesn't have battery power, so it's up to your field recorder to provide that power, which means it will draw the power from your field recorder a little bit faster than if it had its own battery. For example, one of the workhorse mics that I use is the RODE NTG-2. It can be battery powered and thus save the draw on your field recorder. It does have two switches here, a high pass or low cut filter, same thing, different names. What that does is just let you cut off the low frequency rumble that you might pick up, and also can help reduce some of the noise either in your environment or even in your overall audio chain. In this case, it would just capture it at the mic, and then anything that was introduced after that would still be there. So typically, I don't use this. I could use it, but I typically will apply it either in post or on my field recorder. And then we also have here a pad, and the idea here is that if you're working with a very loud sound source, you can apply a -10 decibels pad. And so that's kind of a handy feature. Not something that I, again, typically use because I'm using this primarily for indoor dialogue, but if you were recording a cabinet for some guitar or something like that, certainly you could use that as well. The clip for the mic stand is nice. You've got these fit for a screw, so you can tighten or loosen it, and it's just the right amount of friction. I'm actually really pretty happy with that. It's funny because some clips don't work that well. And then, of course, there is the foam wind cover, and it's, decent quality. It does the job, and I usually put it on there just to help cut some of the plosives that may come in when you're recording dialogue. Now, there's one big question that everyone's asking: does it really provide an advantage over something like a shotgun mic when you're doing indoor dialogue? Is there a huge difference? Or if so, how much difference is there? Well, check out our previous episode here where we compared audio captured in a very echoey room with the AT4053b and the RODE NTG-2. I want to emphasize this is not a comparison of those two mics from the standpoint of which is better quality than the other, because one of them is definitely not suited for this type of environment. Namely, the RODE NTG-2 is not really meant to do super well at rejecting echo indoors when capturing dialogue. My overall impression was that it was pretty good at managing the echo in that room. It wasn't night and day difference from the RODE NTG-2, but it was a little bit better. Was it $340 better? Well, that really depends on your budget. From my point of view, again, since I'm doing a lot of shooting indoors with dialogue, it kind of made sense. And I was at the point in terms of the gigs that I do that it could fit into the budget. Does it fit into everyone's budget? No, I understand that. And the RODE NTG-2 can still be a great mic, a workhorse mic, if that's the kind of budget that you have, and it's a great place to start. How's the sound quality on the Audio-Technica AT4053b? I think overall it's pretty even. It's pretty nice. It is pretty natural in terms of picking up both lows and the highs. It doesn't seem to overly emphasize any one frequency, so that's pretty good. It can be a little bit sibilant if you get it in too close and you're working with someone who has a very sibilant voice, like I do. But if you manage the distance a little bit, I think it works very nicely. So in this case, for example, I'm sitting 24 inches, again, about 40 centimeters from the mic. So that's a pretty good working distance. The closer up you get, the more you're going to get a little bit more sibilance. So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, just like any mic, this is not a magic mic. It does not, you can't put it on top of your camera and be 6 feet away from your talent and expect it to magically reject all of the ambient noise and only capture your talent. So here's a quick comparison. In this case, I have it 24 inches from me, right above here, and this is what that sounds like. Now in this case, I have it mounted on top of the camera and have increased the input level accordingly, and this is what that sounds like. You can see, again, it's not magical. You're going to pick up a lot more ambient noise when you have it farther away from your subject. So in this case, I'm about 8 feet, 6 to 8 feet from the camera. And again, that's what it sounds like. Overall, am I happy with this purchase? I think so. I don't think it was money wasted. I think it definitely will serve me well. I've been pretty happy with what I've seen so far and heard so far. It is a nice addition to my overall kit. Is it going to replace my RODE NTG-2? I don't think so. I think the RODE NTG-2 still has its place. If I'm going to be outdoors, probably the NTG-2 is a better choice. You know, again, it's not night and day difference, but those are just some considerations. So there we have it, the Audio-Technica AT4053b. I hope you found that helpful. Thanks for checking out this episode. If you'd like to get more great videos on how to improve your lighting and sound for video, go ahead and subscribe, and we'll talk to you again soon.